It's the Man Cave Club.
Jimmy, welcome back to the Man Cave Club.
Oh, it's good to be back, Paul.
Yeah, happy to see you again. I think both of us, we've been sort of busy with other projects, preoccupied.
Yeah.
So it's taken us a while to get back here. And
Yeah.
but we have some fun things to talk about. Right now, I got a new pair of John Lorfren boots. These are the Shinki horse butt boots.
Horse butt.
Yeah, and I'm really loving these boots.
Did you get these straight from John Lofgren? Or
No, East West.
East West.
Yeah.
East West apparel.
Well, funny story. I wasn't sure on the size because I tried a pair of these on a few years ago, and it's Standard and Strange. So
You wanted brown engineer boots because you had like natural, you have a few pairs of black, and you're like, you're just like, I get it. You get this like itch, and you gotta scratch it, and it's annoying when you can't scratch it. You're like, why can't I just buy brown boots?
Yeah,
you know, and so I was like, what about this? What about this?
Yeah.
Like sending you links.
You were a huge help, and I really appreciate. I appreciate your input. I mean, it means the world to me.
The attractions, you really like those.
Yeah, the brown 444 lot.
Super cool boots.
Yeah, but I just could not find a pair of brown.
Yeah.
I think they are doing another release sometime this summer. But I started out the Brogue Gentleman's Shop trying on a pair of attractions, size 8.5, but I really needed a 9. 8.5s were a little. My toe was touching. I needed a 9. I started there. And then I sort of migrated over to Standard and Strange in Oakland, just to try some boots on to gauge my size.
Can be tough.
Yeah, so I gave up on the attractions boots because I couldn't find a pair in 9 in brown color.
That's a tough thing, man. With those really sought after. I don't want to say obscure, but like just smaller Japanese brands that do like short runs and small quantity production runs of these boots. Like when they're gone, like it's, you 6, 7, 8 months before shops get like a new wave of restocking.
Right, at least.
Maybe
even a year.
Yeah, once a year. So like if it's something you're after and you unfortunately want a pair in that season of when they're like sold out everywhere and you're waiting for it can be tough, man. It can be kind of torturous, and then you start looking elsewhere. And I don't want to say John Lofgren's are a compromise on those, because they're certainly not. I mean, I think they're certainly a tier up in price, and I think the quality's there. But that's just one of those tough things about this hobby, getting into those like brands where things just aren't readily available. It's like your timing's got to be right.
Oh, absolutely, man. And when they're released, you have to be ready to jump on them. Well, I ended up at Standard and Strange, and of course, I've tried on John Lofgren's before, but I was always a little gun shy because of the price point.
Yep, not cheap.
Because these are about $300 more than the attractions.
Yeah.
The attractions that come in at about $1,000. These are $1,300.
Yeah, the Shinkis are more than the standard, like a Chrome Excel version of John Lofgren.
Yeah, slight
upcharge because of the horse butt, the leather.
Right.
A little more expensive,
But basically, they were the only brown engineer boot that I could find in my size. So I ended up with the John Lofgrens, which, I'm totally...
such a terrible outcome. Such a bad compromise.
No, it's just I was trying to be more economical with my spending. But I sort of I released a couple of the boots that I had. I sold my Billy boots, and that gave me a little bit of extra money to throw around.
These are not the Devil's Causeway ones, right? Yeah, those are like were a special release. These are maybe kind of the more standard kind of version of that. Because I think those Devil's Causeway might have been one of the first like Shinki, the first times Lofgren ran like Shinki horse butt.
Right.
They were more red.
The texture on the leather was very apparent.
Way more pronounced, yeah. So that like honeycombing you see on the vamp and the heel on these boots, it was like full honeycomb, right? And that's always the quick tell horse butt for some reason in the tanning process. Horse butt gets that like honeycombing, kind of marbling.
That's a good point because there's a lot of people that don't like that. They do not like that on a boot.
Yeah.
That like I've read on some of the social media comments that they don't like it. They receive boots that have that uneven texture, and they just send them back.
Yeah,
because they think it's defect.
Yeah, they're expecting like a and so it's acquired taste, I guess. Like bison. Yeah. I think bison's an acquired taste. Right. Like it looks like a dry lake bed, you know? It's like you're into it or you like you hate it, like it creeps you out. I don't know. Like it's one of the two. Yeah. But these are perfect because they're not too textured. They're like enough to see that it is what it is. Right. You know, that it's horse butt. Like this texture is like perfect. Like they're not too textured, and it's just enough to see that it's horse butt. And I'm a big fan. I had a pair of Lofgrens. They're kind of like an infamous pair, just natural Chrome XL, and they were Ticho Blanco's pair, and he like kind of famously like something happened, some drama with Lofgren, and he was like, I'm gonna sell these boots on his Instagram, and I ended up buying them secondhand for like pretty cheap, pretty good deal. Like $400, something like really cheap. Yeah. And they were one of my first pairs of engineers, and they ended up being a little small. They were a 10. I'd probably take them in a 10 and a half. Right. So I think this is what Lofgren does well is they're for the most part like pretty readily available. They will do like, pre-order, pre-sale of like specialized leather runs. But they're like kind of core sample, like they're usually easier to get. I think they just produce a bigger quantity. Right. Well,
they have more varieties.
More variety. Yeah, super good variety. And and I mean, this is just such a good pattern. Like the pattern is good, the balance of the vamp and the counter. Like you don't have a ton, so the Westcoats come out real far, Right. That little like gap there. The shaft is like really slim. Like fits under pretty like tailored denim. I think a lot of the like lower tier engineers, that's an issue is you get really just like loosely patterned shaft that's not too close to your foot. Right. The balance of the heel is good, and I think one thing I really like about this, so the single welt stitch makes that real close. You don't have this huge welt shelf. Right. And they kind of look like clown boots when you look down. You get this super wide welt shelf. I like it pretty tight. Right. But a lot of Lofgrens used to always have a storm welt, and I feel like that was a really quick tell. Like at a quick glance, you go, oh, that's a John Lorfren boot engineer because they had this big storm welt. Right. And I didn't always love it because usually it's natural, and that transition where it cuts down is really pronounced, so you can really see that. But these have a flat welt, and that to me is just like such a cleaner look. So I prefer flat welts for sure, and I think it really just like it's a tiny touch that I think really like kind of streamlines it, makes it look a little more sleek than that bigger storm welt, because you lose that harsh transition to the midsole. Right.
I like these particular boots. The only thing that I would change, and I think we talked about this earlier, I would like to see brass buckles.
The color, yeah.
But these are high quality. They're nickel. There's nothing wrong with them. But I just think aesthetically, a brass buckle would look better.
Yeah, the warmer tone of the brass. Yeah. It's a really warm brown. It's not like a cool brown. It doesn't have much purple in it. It's definitely got more red. Yeah. More red to it. I could see that, man. I think that is a good point though, too, that their hardware is really high quality. Right. And for me, that's like one of my biggest turnoffs with engineer boots is like the wrong buckle. You get those big, like, kind of arched, like, loopy ones.
It's one of the issues I always had with Red Wing engineer boots. Is the buckles
it's like stock hardware. You can get it at, like...
Well, the Red Wings actually had, was like an oversized buckle with the Red Wing embossed on, which I never really liked the buckles on them. I always thought, like, man, if they changed the buckles, the boot would look so much nicer.
My buddy had a pair of Chippewa engineers, my buddy Ian, that he had rebuilt by Unsung.
Yeah.
And he was able to source, like, really nice reproduction vintage buckles like these from the dudes that make those Keystone engineer boots.
Oh, wow.
Fuku, I'm going to butcher the name, but the guys that make the Keystones, he emailed them and they mailed him some.
Oh, wow.
And then he had them swap out, and like just that detail of changing the hardware was like, oh, this looks like $1,000 boot.
Yeah, and then the heel height, this is like 1 3/4 heel height stack, which it's a little bit taller than I am used to, or I particularly like.
Yeah.
But I am getting used to it, and I mean, you know, I love the boots. You know, it's my left foot, the left boot. I actually had to put a stretcher on because my left foot is a little bit bigger than my right foot, and that's the thing that I will comment on these. It is quite a narrow last.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. They're a lot more narrow than I, in my mind, remember them being. But I think that's the right boot fit me perfectly.
Cool.
No problem at all. Didn't have any discomfort. But the left foot was a little tight around the mid.
Kind of the ball, like
mid-arch. The ball, the mid ball of the.
It was tight, like on the top or on the sides?
No, on the sides.
On the sides, got it. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that's one of the, I think, common critiques of these boots is maybe they kind of have like not a super interesting toe shape. It's kind of just round and and like, you know, generic, I guess.
But that's one of the things I like about them.
Yeah,
because I consider it more of like what you call maybe a more traditional toe shape.
Yeah, totally.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's particularly one of the things that I really did like about the Attractions boots is that the toe shape's a little pointier and it has a little bit more of a Western look to it.
Yeah. Kind of like the Wesco MP toe.
Yeah,
A little bit of a squared off kind of Western look to it.
The Wesco MP toe, like on the Mr. Lou's.
Yeah.
The toe's a little pointier, more almond shaped, and a little flatter.
Yep.
Whereas the Attractions it's not so flat. It's a little higher. It's a little pointier. And I like the aesthetic of that boot. I really do like that Attractions boot. And I would consider buying a pair of Attractions if I can find a pair that I like.
I think that the brown is different enough that they wouldn't overlap too much. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like I think like having like 5 pairs of black boots is like, well, they're all black.
I hear, pray tell, that these boots are made in the same factory as the Flathead. You know, I have a pair of Flathead boots here. The Flathead. These are chrome excel leather.
Those have aged so nicely.
Yeah, I really love these boots. The design and the build is very similar.
Very similar.
Both of them. So there may be some grain of truth that they're both made in the same place in Japan. Japanese-made boots.
It's entirely plausible.
Yeah. Well, these have the storm welt that you were talking about.
Yep. Yeah, so that kind of, you know, right here where that storm welt ends.
Right.
For some reason on the Lofgrens, it's like, seems really pronounced. To me, at least to my eye, it's kind of always looked that way.
Right.
So I'm glad these have the flat welt.
Yeah. The soles, the half sole, Vibram half sole, they're the same essentially, right?
Yeah. Oh man, I think that's the V700.
Right.
I'm out of practice thinking. Seeing soles by sight. Yeah, that's the V700.
Yeah.
Yeah, half sole.
Right.
That's a good sole because it's not super thick.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I did look at a lot of different engineer boots. I was looking at the Zerrows.
Yeah.
Have a really nice engineer boot, brown engineer boot, and I considered that from East West, but I didn't particularly like the soles they had on those boots. Plus the fact they're quite a bit more expensive.
Yeah, pretty expensive, those.
I know you did mention Keystone.
You looked into those?
Yeah, and
You like
I
those,
actually
yeah.
have a pair on order.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Did you get the rough out?
Yeah, I got the tan rough out.
Yeah.
I just love those boots.
They're cool.
There is some sizing issue, like back and forth.
They're cool. They have a really cool silhouette, and they're really like leaned. They got like a cool like rake to them.
Well, they have a kind of a spring toe.
Yeah, it's cool. Like they have like a rake, and then it's kind of like a hard sprung toe. Like
Hard sprung toe,
It's almost
yeah.
like at an angle.
Yeah.
It like looks less rounded. It's always kind of look like a,
Right.
Yeah, but which they look super cool, man. Like,
Yeah, they're a very unique boot, and I'm sort of taking a chance on them.
Yeah.
Because I have no opportunity to try them on, of course.
No, super rare, hard to come by.
Yeah, and they're all one-off, custom order,
Made to order.
And I think the price point is pretty good. I think they're around $600.
Yeah.
Which is
a great price point for made to order.
Yeah.
In Japan, yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
No, not bad at all.
So I'm gonna give them a go. So yeah, so I'm loving my new John Lofgrens, and I hope to get just a bunch of wear out of these.
Yeah. You got that's a killer trio, man. The black flatheads, and then those light rough out Keystones. Like,
Yeah.
what more do you need? As far as engineers go, that's like,
Right.
black, brown, natural.
Well, I'm trying to get it dialed in, Jimmy.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And I'm almost there. Well, thanks again, guys, for joining us in the Man Cave Club, and we're going to try to kick out some more videos coming up in the next couple of weeks. Our next episode is going to be CPO shirts.
Yeah, we're a little teaser right now, at least with what I'm wearing.
Yeah, so
Little teaser for that video. So yeah, catch that video for sure. That'll be a fun one. And thanks for having me back again, Paul. Sorry it's been so long, but I'm glad to be back. I'll do better.
right on. See you guys next time.
It's the Man Cave Club.